Hey guys, welcome to Redneck Off the Range. Today I'm going to do a quick review of this Hyper Tough 20 volt inflator. I got this on Walmart.com. It was actually on clearance, which is really weird because I just started seeing these on Walmart.com and they're already on clearance. I don't know, I guess they didn't sell very well. Never found them in store or anything, but the reviews were pretty good, so I decided to give it a try. Could always use an extra 20 volt battery for my circular saw, and I could always use something lighter than an air compressor to blow up various things that I need to blow up. So I paid like $32 plus tax and shipping and everything, so it was like a little bit over $40 for everything that you see here. What you'll get is the inflator, one 1.5 amp hour 20 volt battery, one very basic charger, just kind of slips over it and plugs into the wall. Very, very basic. It's not like a quick charger or anything special. And a 12 volt power source, so I guess you're only getting 12 volts with this, but it plugs into your car and it has quite a bit of cord. I guess if you're wanting to use this on the road and you don't have a charge on your battery, I don't know how well this is going to work compared to this. Haven't tried it out yet, but let's just kind of go over it a little bit here. So you have this little I don't really know what kind of material you would call this, but it's kind of like a fabric-y woven material for the hose. Has a little clamp on the tip of the hose, and it has 3 different attachments that you can put on it. So if you take, it comes with this one in it, so I guess this one is for like a different style of bike stem. I don't really know what you call that, but I probably would never use that. With nothing in it, that's your basic tire stem, so your cars, your lawnmowers, your regular bike, just a regular valve stem, and you have to, slip it over and clamp it onto the stem itself. On this side, you have a little plastic attachment. I want to say this is for things like beach balls or maybe rafts or air mattresses or something. It says in the instructions what all the different attachments are, but that's kind of what it looks like to me, is for those little like plastic thing, the little plastic nozzle things that you have in your like blow up toys. And then on this side you have the little stem for your basketballs, your volleyballs, footballs, all your basic sports balls, and that's what this is. And you just basically slip it into the end there and clamp it down, and you can have different attachments on your inflator. So let's get that on there. And it just goes together like that. You do have a little pressure gauge that goes from 0 psi all the way up to, I think it said 116 is safe, and then the gauge goes all the way up to 150, but that's in the red zone. You don't want to be blowing up something in the red zone. So, and then of course it has a light here that illuminates when it turns on. And the noise it makes, it actually sounds kind of like an air compressor. And the battery did come with at least a partial charge. It doesn't have a fuel gauge, so I couldn't tell you how much charge, but it did have a charge. I haven't charged it yet. And one other thing, there's also a lock. So it's a trigger, kind of like a drill, and then you have this little button here you slide up, and it locks the trigger. So anyway, that is the Hyper Tough 20 volt inflator. First, I'm going to test it out on some sports balls that I have sitting down here in the basement that I just let the air out of, and we're just going to see how well it works on those. Alright, so you see it works pretty well on sports balls, and you can pretty much assume that it's going to work pretty well on smaller tires like bike tires and maybe like motorcycle tires, tires that don't have a whole lot of air in them. But how do they do on car tires? Well, I can tell you from that experience of trying to blow up my truck's tire. Of course, I didn't really pay attention to what the truck tire was at first. It definitely wasn't at 35, but what I did notice is that when I was airing it up, the needle only stayed about a little over 25 psi, maybe around 30, and it never moved. And I really was questioning on whether or not, it was actually airing it up, or if the gauge was just broken or whatever, and, I took it off, put it back on, and it pretty much hovered around 30. But when I put my little manual, like little pen tire pressure gauge on it, it read 35, which is what it's supposed to be. I probably should have put that on before I aired it up, but basically, my opinion of inflators like this is they're probably not that great to use on car tires, because they're just, let's face it, something like this is not as powerful as a big tank of compressed air. It generally is not going to push the air through the hose as with as much power as an actual compressor. That's just my experience and my opinion of these things. They'll work great on inflating volleyballs and basketballs and stuff. They'll work great on inflating bike tires, maybe motorcycle tires, and maybe even lawnmower tires. But for something like your car, that you use every day, and your life pretty much depends on your car, taking you to your job, the grocery store, pick up the kids from school, whatever. I don't know that I would trust this little cheap $40 inflator. But for all those other things, I'd say it's pretty good, and I'd have to do a little more testing on it to see if it works good on car tires. Supposedly, the battery, this 1.5 amp hour battery, will work good for airing up 2 car tires, which by that I'm assuming what they mean is basically like your average car tire like you find on a Toyota Camry, going from 100% flat to 32 psi, whatever they're rated at. That's what I assume they mean. I don't really know exactly what they're supposed to mean by that, but that's what I would assume that means. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I haven't tested it. I don't know that I'm going to test it, but for all those other things, I definitely plan on using this inflator and seeing how well it works, how well it holds up, and all that. So for all those things, I definitely would recommend this, because so far it seems like it works pretty well. All the other reviews on Walmart were actually pretty good reviews. There was nothing under a 4-star review. And some people said that it actually works good on airing up their car tires and their golf cart tires and all that kind of stuff. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does work pretty well on that. But I personally probably wouldn't trust it to air up my car tires or my truck tires. So, anyway, that is the HyperTough 20-volt cordless inflator. Check it out. They're on clearance. I don't know how long they're going to stay on Walmart.com, but for $32, it's a pretty good deal. And of course, if you have HyperTough cordless tools already, like a drill, an impact, or a circular saw, like I have, it's a good way to get another battery. So check it out. That was Redneck Off the Range, and until next time, be safe.